Hey folks, this is Riker. Is your mind tricking you into believing something that simply isn't true about the game you play? A human being's tendency to think in a way that leads us to draw illogical conclusions is called a cognitive bias. These cognitive biases become a problem when they lead us to make decisions based on illogical conclusions. So here are 14 cognitive biases that may be affecting the way you play your favorite game. We're going to frame this discussion in the context of Diablo, but really it applies to any game that involves an element of chance, all the way back to simple dice games. First on the list, we have confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is our tendency to focus on information that confirms our preconceptions. We see this happening so often in forums, and it just frustrates the heck out of me. At some point in the world of Diablo, a new character called Kadala was introduced, and you could gamble for items at this character. Every time you would gamble, it was like a pull on a slot machine. You had a chance of winning big. And at some point, there was a belief that was becoming, I don't know how widespread it was, but there were enough people actually believing that you can tweak your odds of winning big with Kadala by adopting certain behaviors. And one of those behaviors was if you were to gamble really fast. They'd call it spam clicking. So rather than pause between your successive gamble attempts, you would spam click as fast as possible, and this allegedly was supposed to increase your odds of getting a legendary. So we'd see this posted in a forum somewhere, and then what happens? People go, they try this out, because hey, why not try it? And if it works for them, they come back and they post their findings. Say, oh man, I tried it out and it worked. I got a couple legendaries. But what these people fail to realize is that they would have gotten those legendaries anyway. Gambling faster just means you get them faster, but even if you pause for 5 minutes between every attempt, you're still going to get the same thing. But again, our mind ignores that part of the equation, and we just see, oh, lots of legendaries, therefore this works. Confirmation bias. We see evidence and we interpret it in a way that conforms to our preconception that this works because we go into this wanting it to work. And this ties into our next bias, which is expectation bias. And this is our tendency to only report data that agrees with our expectations and to discard data that doesn't. So one reason these myths get propagated is that when people go and test these things, people who get what they believe to be positive results are far more likely to report their findings than those who get negative results. So this skews things. When you go into that thread and you read all the reports, you're seeing far more people saying this works, even though it doesn't, but they think it does, than the people who tested it and saw that, no, this is nothing, so I don't even care to report the findings. Then this gets compounded by the fact that people will then disregard these negative reports often by simply saying, well, I tested it, it worked for me, I'm sure you did something wrong, you weren't clicking fast enough, or for whatever reason, you're wrong, my data is better than your data. That wraps up this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment letting me know what cognitive biases you've either avoided or fallen prey to. And until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.